Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sporting160EN podcast. We're on episode 170 today, and it is a jam-packed episode. It's our first one of the year. We had a nice little break, which I think was definitely well needed. But Sporting did not have a break, so here we are. We've got a lot to cover in this episode. But before I get into that, I will introduce you to my co-hosts. First, my main man Richard. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. Beta Mars out of the Tasa, so that dream dies, but I'm used to it. But other than that, we're okay. We got a lot to get into, don't we?
Yeah, beaten by my Viseu, unfortunately for you.
Yeah,
But,
high flying Viseu.
we'll take the wins. Hopefully, first division Viseu very soon. But yeah, last but certainly not least, my man Chris. How you doing today, man?
Doing good, man. We got a like you said, lot to talk about. Been like 3 weeks since our last epi, so yeah, I'm excited to get into it. We got a lot of stuff to get into. Honestly, it's a wide range of topics.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm the host as always, Sam Fonseca. Make sure to follow Steph and Danny, who can't be with us today, unfortunately, but they'll be back near in the future. Without further ado, I guess we'll just crack on with it. So we'll start off with the Twitter questions, then we'll get onto the games. So let me just share my screen with you all quickly. Okay, cool. I see Steph's question, but it's about Maristimo, so we'll save that for later on. Right. Lauren, big fan of the show. Thank you, Lauren, for your question. She says, we've got 3 questions. First one, can we have a moment of silence for Nani? What do you think, boys? Is it over for him? Is it over for Nani?
It might
very
be.
bad
it's not
injury.
over.
I'm hoping it's not. I like
Nani. Not over.
Nani's one of my favorite players, but
he's gonna lose a lot of juice, and I think that maybe like the Portuguese third division. I was gonna say maybe Estrela da Amadora, but his original club is Real Masama, so I think he might go back there, third division, maybe the level in a year. But yeah, I mean, he's looking at 14 months, I'm guessing, which is tough.
It's his ACL. It's his ACL, no?
Yeah, ACL.
Yeah, that's tough to come back from for any athlete, especially like he's on the older side, so that's going to be a hell of a comeback. That being said, I'll take my Beta Mar any day. I hope for his recovery because I love Nani. Nani is my boy.
Yes, same here. The thing is with him though, like no disrespect at this time, but he was like a signing, sort of like not signed for talent, more of the name, I guess, to sell more shirts in Australia to get more eyes on the product as well. But I'm sure. I think he's got a contract for 2 years. I think he should be fine. If not,
he's only 36. He could be older,
younger than Ronaldo.
And as far as I'm aware, he doesn't have that much of an injury history. I think
this is like one of his. If it's not his first, it's like his second major injury because he's been playing for a long time. Like I remember watching him as a child, so I don't think he's had many major injuries, like minor stuff here and there.
Yeah, I was gonna say a few knocks here and there, but I'm sure Lauren will know. But I don't think any sort of major long-term injuries anyway.
The only one I remember is he had one like just before the World Cup in 2010 that caused him to miss the World Cup. Like it was bad enough for him to miss that tournament, and that was tough.
Was that Jamie Carragher's tackle on him? Because I know that was like quite bad, but I don't know if it was an injury or just like a knock in the
I
game.
mean, it's Jamie Carragher probably. How many guys did Jamie Carragher take out in his career? Like, but he had a bad enough injury to miss that tournament. Like it was serious. That's the only other serious one I can think of.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, we'll give the next one to you. Do you think the season is savable at this point? And like define your version of savable.
Savable would mean to get into the top 3.
Yeah.
So theoretically, it is savable, which is might as well try to take advantage of 3 Champions League spots probably one more time, right? This is probably it, at least for another year or 2. I'm guessing. So I hope we can get top 3. But yeah, I don't know, man. But Braga and Porto seem to be more consistent than us, so I don't see which one of them we're going to pass.
Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah. Richard, are you on the same boat there?
I mean, If you can get a trophy, it's not a total failure.
Plus, obviously, we could win the toss of the Liga, which is gonna help salvage it on paper a little bit more too.
If you win a trophy like of any sort, I don't think you can ever classify a season as a full failure. That's my mentality. Yeah, it's
true.
It's the winter Mickey Mouse Cup, but fuck it, we run that shit, so we'll take it. I think if you win that, if you can get a run in Europa, which you have a favorable draw for this first round, so you should hypothetically get into the round of 16, the second round of 16 with the first place teams and whoever advances. They need some stuff to go their way in the league. They did themselves absolutely zero favors this week with Maritimo. Benfica lost. If they had won that game, that they would have been 6 or 8 points off or something like that. Like
9. They're 12 now.
Fuck, I was being optimistic. Idiot.
I think it is 6 because we would take points off them, right?
If we took points off of them, yes, that's what I saw. So we would have been 9, and we would have been flying in knowing like, okay, if we win this, we cut it down to 6. Savable, yeah, but I'm with Chris. Like, I think the best you could hope for is 3rd, and even that is looking like it's starting to slip away, maybe. Like, we just can't find any consistency. Braga's starting to kind of turn it on again. I think Braga's actually going to finish 2nd. That's going to be my hot take. Yeah, it's savable, but I think you still need some stuff to go kind of your way.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with both of you. I would also like a little bit of a Europa League run. I'm not going to compare directly, but Benfica had one of their worst seasons last year, and they still managed to make quarters of the Champions League. So I don't see why we can't sort of replicate that and make the quarters, make the semi-finals or something. But yeah, and I'm going to answer this question, chat. I do. I don't know about these two. But
you love me.
most
I'm a Paulinho stan. I'm part of the fan club. Tiago Tomas, on the other hand, get that shit out of here.
He'll be back, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah, I know he's gonna be back. I saw the stuff today from Stuttgart. He's probably not gonna be. They likely won't be triggering that 12 to 14 million buyout.
Yeah, most definitely.
Especially if they go down.
If they go down, absolutely not. That'd be suicide.
Spend that. I think he's already scored that kind twice of money. Or 3 times this season.
It's not been quite as good this season.
No,
sadly.
Yeah. Richard, Lauren's last question is: if Amorim is to leave in the summer, who do you see as a potential replacement, and who would be your number one sort of replacement if he were to go?
That's a hell of a question. I don't think he leaves in the summer, but if he does, who do I see as a replacement? This is a crapshoot because we could end up with Silas 2.0 or we could end up with somebody good.
Isn't Espírito Santo still not coaching?
I think he's really in Saudi.
Or did he go to the Middle East?
I think he's in the Middle East.
I think he's one
but
of the
he
Middle
could always
Eastern
bounce
boys.
out of there at any moment.
He could. Same with like Jardim too. Like Jardim's a Middle Eastern boy who could easily bounce around somewhere if he wants to. I don't know, and that's. Do you go after Artur Jorge from Braga? Like, I don't know. I don't think you're going to be. I think you've almost been priced out of Abel from Palmeiras at this point, which is too bad because was a fan favorite of the club when he played here, won trophies for us, is very tactically sound, and I think he'd be a good manager, but I think he's probably going to be out of our price range, if not now, soon. I'd love to have a proper answer for you, Lauren. I don't know because it's not happened yet. We know Roberto Martinez is not free anymore, so that's out of the equation.
Oh no.
Damn. We'll get into that more later. But yeah, I don't know. I'd love Dream World, I'd love to see Abel, but I don't know if that's what we'll end up with.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm gonna throw a name in there, and I think Chris will agree with me, just for the drip alone. Alvaro Pacheco, the former Vizela manager, the Peaky Blinder.
You know what? We could use some style.
Hey, man, U.S. national team manager Greg Berhalter could be out of a job. He's got some pretty good drip.
I'd rather not.
You can get Alvaro a little green hat instead of a blue one to
They've got him in La Javed, man.
It's Lion Store, I think.
Or Lion Store. Lion Store.
It's Lion Store, not La Javed, because why would we change a perfectly good name?
Of everything that's going wrong with the club, I think the store was probably the least of our concerns. But
Yeah.
Lion Store. No, Lion Store's. I mean, the Lion Store numbers are up, so I guess the Lion Store is actually like the best aspect of the club, despite its many faults.
I wish it would like rebrand with like no shipping costs, and then or like definitely less shipping costs.
Oh, the shipping's brutal. Like me and Christian gets like in Canada States get shafted on that. It's the shipping costs more than what you're buying.
Sometimes. At least they got like premium now, and it comes in like 3 days, which is honestly sick.
Yeah,
but it is expensive.
I order from Classic Shirts all the time from England. And it's like £9 shipping every time, and it comes in like a week. Like, can we not get something like that? Can we not get something like that? I want to pay like $35 Canadian to ship a scarf.
I would take Paul Bento, to be honest.
That's an interest. That's a name I've not heard in a long time. Paul Bento.
He's out of a job.
Good for career, I thought. They got a solid, like, defensive sound team, I thought.
I think Paulo Bento, the problem was, like, he lost the locker room the last, like, in his stint with Sporting. I think that was the issue. And also the team was, like, towards the end, just absolute
the team just folded in.
The team, so, like, that was, like, basically after 2009 was the downfall of Sporting for a long time. Like, that team sucked for a lot of years. He did all right. Like, he got us to a couple, like, he won us a couple cups, couple Super Cups. Should have had 2 Taça Ligas. We were always second place with them. 1 year we were second place by 1 point. It was the infamous Porto was ahead of us by a point, then we were ahead of Benfica by a point in 07. He had a couple, 1 or 2 decent UEFA Cup runs. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't love it, but I feel like there's far worse choices out there than him. He'd be okay.
Yeah. I don't think it would be the worst idea. I mean,
yeah,
it's for free as well, I suppose. Like,
you're not paying anybody, I suppose.
Yeah, most definitely. Next question comes in from Steph, who is obviously a member of this podcast. Shout out to you, Steph. Rich, I'll give this one to you again. Should the winter market not exist, all it does is create problems for clubs with less financial status, which I think is actually a really good talking point. But Rich, take it away.
I see the argument for it. I don't think it changes the problems for clubs with less financial status either way. I think that inequality would still be there. I do think it magnifies it a bit because I think teams tend to panic buy more in the winter market than the summer market. I feel like they tend to blow their load a bit more willingly in January. If we got rid of it, like, I'd be fine. Like, it wouldn't. I don't think anybody would really notice after a year or two. But I don't know. I know, like, here in like Canada States, like, we have like a trade deadline, which for like a lot of our sports, which are also in season, and it's usually like February where you stop making trades. So I see the point of a winter market though too. But I wouldn't be heartbroken if it just left.
Maybe there's a compromise of like shortening it to like 2 weeks or something.
That might be the solution, honestly.
Because if you're a smaller club, it is still good to, like, the Scandinavian leagues could say the same thing about our league, right? We're rating their league right now, so it's like there's always going to be a hierarchy, right?
Yeah, until football finds some way to sort itself out, like there's always going to be like these tiers, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to have you're never going to have absolute parity, like.
And then people just save all the business until deadline day, anyways. So.
Yeah, you usually don't see. You just hear a lot.
Might as well just make it 2 weeks.
Yeah, we basically spend like 3 weeks of just rumor and innuendo, with very little substance, and then it's like the last 3 to 5 days is when you kind of see most of the deals done.
It's like, let's just say Sporting hypothetically makes it to the Taça Liga final. That's on January 28th.
Yeah.
If Edwards or Pro really is going to be making the jump to Tottenham, and it hasn't happened yet, they're not going to leave before they play that final, obviously. Right, so like that just means it's going to be a mad.
They let Mateus Nunes go before a Clasico against Porto.
There's just going to be a mad dash.
I wouldn't roll that
January
out.
29th to January 31st.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Yeah. Next question from @Creator90. Chris, I'll give this first one to you. Why do you think the decisions of the bench are so poor, like regarding substitutions?
There's really not that much to work with, to be honest.
No.
You have to sort of get creative, but yeah, I mean, he just insists on certain players that at this point shouldn't even probably be out there at this point. There's no reason to. We might as well be testing other players. And yeah, I mean, just players that haven't lived up to expectations. Like St. Just and stuff like that. Kawats hasn't. I mean, Kawats came off in this game. I don't know if he's injured or something or what's up with that.
I think it's because he was close to suspension. If he got another yellow,
he was one of the guys on a yellow. That's why.
I mean,
but
he put into Samson, so I mean, he
yeah. I was gonna say as well. Like, does it really matter now if we beat Benfica?
Yeah, I was also thinking what are we saving him for? The game
it's already just to brag. Say we beat you. Fuck you.
Because I thought they were gonna put Kawats up top for 12 minutes, but then he just came off, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, cool.
Sure.
I guess St. Just didn't get hurt though in those 12 minutes though, which is good.
He just said that. I think I heard his ACL snap or something, and that's
he made a few good passes and a few good runs as well. To be fair,
he didn't. That's the thing. When he's not hurt, he actually looks good.
Yes,
that's
bro.
the problem. But he's always hurt.
Yeah, he has looked good. He's also only ever hit at best 68% of his max potential, and he played 3 games in a row and he started making those runs, and it's he's finally showing that speed, and then that just got injured again, and that was the end of that. But there was a 3-game run where he had his best minutes, I think.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with what you were saying with lack to work with, but I also think part of it is Amorim's fault. For example, he chose to bring Trincao in. He wrote out for Trincao, and he's not been the best. He wrote out for Guy, who he's obviously not been that good. I still think it's too early to write him off, obviously, because like we said, we've seen. It's not like I've seen St. Just have a bad game.
And Trincao still maintains a longer leash than Edwards does, even at this point.
Which baffles me.
I mean, Trincao is honestly the last stretch of games. I feel like Trincao is not. You can't really defend him at this point anymore.
No. I feel bad, but I can't. I'm with you. I can't defend him.
Is he just permanently penciled into the starting lineup? I don't know.
It reminds me of Pot last year when he was having the same sort of lapse of form, and he was still getting in every single time, even though he was having stinker after stinker after stinker. Yeah. And that's the thing with Amorim. I think he might be just too nice to drop players, either too nice or too stubborn. He doesn't want to admit he's wrong.
He is willing to do it though in certain situations.
Yeah. He's loyal to a fault almost, I think, and we've seen he's not the first manager we've seen even in a recent
it is good, for example, that he stuck with Gonçalo Inácio when he was in a down stretch, because I do think Inácio is playing better now, and he obviously is a player with good potential what we've seen. But it's also he really didn't have anyone else just to send it back, even if he wanted to send a message, right?
No.
But I feel at that position he could start Jovan one of these games, right? I mean, he's insisted on him. They renewed him, right? I mean, that's presumably on Amorim's command or not without his approval. So, I mean...
Well, they renewed him, and aren't there transfer rumors about him again?
They put him in with 5 minutes left in these games, let him get some burn the Taça-Liga. I mean, why didn't they give him 25 minutes yesterday against Madeira? Trincao wasn't doing shit, bro.
Yeah, fair enough. And Chris, I'll give you his last question as well. Who do you think needs to leave, and who do you think needs to be signed? Instead of who needs to be, I'll give you what position needs to be signed, and I'll give you any player you think, or any players plural that you think should leave. Can I just throw in Jovan straight away?
There's a lot of players.
Yeah, if you weren't, I was going to.
Basically, any player on the roster can leave for the right price.
Yeah.
I would agree, but I think it's annoying me because Porro, I think, is worth more than 45 million. I was having this debate the other day.
He's an outside back. He is an outside back, though.
But when you think about it, I would say he gets into most teams in football, in the world. I would say on form, he's better than... Right, if we're saying at the moment, I think he's better than most of the players in the Premier League. I wouldn't put him maybe above Hakimi. PSG. But if I was going for position,
I don't think he pencils in as a starter for all of the top 6 teams. But I think he pencils in as a starter for 15 of the Premier League clubs, though.
I would say definitely I would say Arsenal right now. I know Ben White has been playing right back for them, but I would still take Porro. Spurs definitely.
Well,
Chelsea,
Spurs do
Reece
want
James is
them.
injured, I think. So I'd say
Liverpool's
Chelsea.
always going to go with Alexander Arnold, at least for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, that's
So-
that. They're gonna die on that hill. Like,
Yeah. And even for City, Carl Walker's getting old. Joao Cancelo's not had the best season.
well, and they play Cancelo a lot at left back. It's
No, City actually would be a reasonable option, but I mean, they have the buyback clause, right? I mean,
if they wanted them, they would have already at least been in talks to do the buyback, right? Like that's
if
the
I
thing.
were on the Porro watch, you know what I would be watching? I would be watching to see if he just see if I don't have to make a move this winter and just see if he gets hurt the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, he has been sort of not that bad, but like kind of more injury prone. So if he stays healthy over the next, 6 months, like I would pay 45 million for him. But do they feel like they have the pressure to do that now? / like, or would they actually be willing to pay those prices?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Is
like
Tottenham
you're
the
saying,
kind of club that would spend 45 million in January?
right now, I think yes, because their season
might.
is falling apart rapidly.
Tottenham strikes me as a team that likes to panic.
Especially
it
with
wouldn't
Conte
shock
as a
me.
manager who is
Because
notorious for spending money.
they're not going to get Edwards and Porro.
No,
At
I
least
don't.
not
I think
in
they don't. I
January.
think they'd only get one. They'd get one.
More likely to go for
but-
Porro because I think they can get Edwards more easily in the summer, especially with the percentage situation. They're in a better position there.
And I think they've got enough
Yeah.
forwards at the moment anyway. They've got Son, they've got Kulusevski,
Yeah,
they've
that's
got
true
Kane.
as well.
They're loaded up front. They need a defender. I'm with you there. I think they would go Pedro Porro first because they
But,
need a
I mean,
defender,
Viana
and then
was-
Edwards because let's be honest, there's gonna be a lot of haggling with that one. I think more than Porro. So I think Porro, if one of the two is gonna leave now, it'd be Porro over Edwards. Not based on want, just a gut feeling.
About Porro's a big Twitter guy, so I mean,
Yes.
he's tweeting. So I mean, I've carefully been watching his account, bro, because I think things will be self-reported there, but maybe just before they happen.
We'll know if he's not going to Chelsea if we see some Jean Felix
He strikes me as the
subtweets.
type of dude to tweet some cryptic shit or some farewell shit or some shit that So
We'll know he's not going to Chelsea if we all of a sudden see some Jean Felix subtweets.
Do you know
that was
back in the
news today
day, on Instagram, you had you could see what people were liking and who was following, on that tag.
Yeah.
If they had that, but I reckon Porro would be doing some numbers there,
Yeah.
liking every single Maggie post as soon
I
as
want
it
to
goes
see.
live.
I want to see the Snapchat best friends list and see who's the top three.
It would be. It used to be Pedro Porro like this and 9 other things, and it's gonna be all pictures of girls. I would imagine.
Oh man. Okay, cool. Moving swiftly on. Paul Rodriguez asks, I want to take this question. He goes, who's been more disappointing, Trincao or Edwards? I don't think Edwards has been disappointed.
No.
The thing is, right, he has
been
games.
inconsistent as well.
Yeah.
He's hit much higher highs. He's hit much higher highs.
Yeah, and I think I think Edwards, I saw recently, has been sort of a scapegoat for what's happened, and I think Trincao's definitely had more off games. I see what they mean about Edwards because, like Chris said, he's inconsistent. When people are saying, "Oh, he's not worth 45 million," because basically, if I'm correct, 50% of that goes to Spurs anyway. So you're not saying he's worth 20, 27, whatever the number would be.
Yeah,
70% Porro, 50% Edwards.
Yeah,
that's our pass. That's what we own of the pass. Okay.
Yes, so it's I don't understand how people could say Edwards is worth 45 because it won't be. I mean, it is 45 million. Don't get me wrong, but it won't be to us. It will be whatever the percentage will be.
We'll get the half. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Varandas. You can say all you like about what he's done for the club, and he's won a lot. There's no debate in that whatsoever. But when you look at Rui Costa, who's been president for literally under or maybe just over 2 years. He's made so much money because he puts release scores 120, 140, whatever. Even Bruno Carvalho back in the day, I know obviously he's been ousted and Nero wants to move on. When we signed a 31-year-old Brian Ruiz, 120 million buyout.
Yeah.
But why does Brian for these young players as well?
We don't
always young players,
haggle.
45.
What's
his obsession with the number 45?
We don't haggle for price anymore. We roll over. Like that's a thing.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of the operation is
always
outsourced as well. I mean, Benfica's operation is outsourced as well, sort of, because they go through the same client manager. But like, they just have they're high. Like, it's like, you know how like Nike has tiers of uniforms.
Yeah.
That they like, you know, customization levels. Like, Just a Few has tiers of like service, and like we're not in the tier 1 of service.
Not anymore.
So we don't get top prices doing it that way. And so like, I don't know, like we need to like be able to like branch out more. And I mean, I hope that, to be honest, like one of the things that I've criticized them for recently is like not buying enough players from the South American market and like basically only having transfers handed to them, basically.
Yeah.
So I hope if Hanlongo shows anything, but like I don't know, I hope it's at least like a positive reflection. Like I don't think that signing came from George Mendes, so at least it came from somewhere else. Or you could send me something that tells me that it is, but I mean, as far as I can tell, it isn't. So
yeah.
And it seems like we own 100% of him as well. I hope.
Well, he's a totally free transfer, despite what Rosario Central says. Yeah, we don't haggle though anymore. Like we're not as stubborn.
Rosario will get like
Benfica,
the solidarity
right?
clause, but that's it. You know?
They'll get the obligatory like FIFA like 5% or something.
Yeah, I think it's like 2.5 or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, like we don't haggle anymore for price. Like I think that's the big thing is we just kind of like, okay, we'll just take what we can get. And you see with Benfica, they're like, no, like this is where they don't budge off their asking.
We'll see what happens. With
very seldom.
You think it's over?
Really budge.
Is the saga
I think he's
really
staying
over?
until summer. Definitely
stay until summer. No one's gonna try to come back in. I mean, there's still 20 days.
I think he stays till summer. I feel like if there was gonna be like I feel like if anybody was in advanced talks, we would have probably already heard about it by now.
True. We'll see how desperate they get.
If Chelsea lose again,
let's see how bad Chelsea's situation gets.
Well,
they just
know Chelsea.
Felix.
We know Chelsea and Tottenham are both spiraling pretty bad. So there's always it will probably get worse before it gets better for either club. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Enzo stay until summer at least, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to accept anything less than 120.
Yeah, most likely outcome. I think as well. But I don't think they're going to dime under 100. Saga just the ending, you know, happy ending. He points to the badge. It's resolved. Like,
yeah,
I think there might be one more interruption before it's all said and done.
The last Twitter question we have today is from @Boba Zwieba. I hope I'm saying that correctly. AFC_Robin. I'll ask it to both of you. Start off with you, Richard. Is it worth for us to cash in on Edwards and Parra now and build for the future? What do you think?
Jesus Christ on the cross. We've been building for the future for the last like 10 years. Sure. I mean, if the price is right, like I'm never going to say no player is untransferable at the end of the day. If the price is right and you're actually going to be smart with how you invest it, like sure. I do think that would also be a sign that you think the season's lost at that point, though, too. That you think there's absolutely nothing you can salvage because what are you playing for outside of trying to hold on to the Conference League spot? Because you're not even going to get you're going to get Conference League at this point unless you win Toss the Liga. Then I think you do get Europa League. I don't know how because they've changed how the domestic cups work for qualification, but.
Yeah, but Rich, what do you think? What do you think about the what happened in the summer with Matheus Nunes? Like, do you think that Sporting's position was that they actually didn't want to sell him, or do you think that was just their public-facing position? Because
I think
I'm genuinely asking because I don't know what happened here. Like, do you think that they just got bullied to sell?
I think it was public-facing. They got bullied by Wolves and George Mendes. So I hope to God they get sent down this year. That'll be a laugh.
All I'm saying is, like, I think that could easily just happen again. They could not want to sell for Edwards, and then they just get fucking stiff-armed in the face and just have to. Yeah.
I think it's a combination of they probably got bullied a bit and they maybe didn't want to. And
I genuinely think that Matheus Nunes forced it. The only reason I think it is because I remember me, Chris, and Danny came on the podcast when like the news broke as we were going live. I think it was CM Journal maybe said that it was like 45 million and 5 million, and it was done.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said nope, it's been rejected, whatever. Then what? 2 months later, I think it was maybe a month and a half. He was gone for that exact same price.
It was when I came on the show. It was literally the same offer.
Yeah.
It makes me think that maybe Mateus pushed for it and like wanted like because there is a thing that I think he thought maybe he'd get more exposure at Wolves, and to be fair, he has because he's been linked to Liverpool already in this window, so he could obviously make that jump across. But part of me thinks that whether it was agent or just Mateus himself, I think it's definitely maybe 50-50 blame on club and player, but I think maybe a bit more on Mateus Nunes' side if I'm defending Randers here, which as you guys know, I don't really like to do too much. But
you're never going to get the full story from the club.
Could you see a scenario where Edwards or Porro themselves push just for a move in January?
Edwards, yes. Porro, I don't think so.
Edwards, I could see.
Porro doesn't want to be too far away from Maggie at all times.
I can't blame him.
Gotta keep his eye on it, right?
Can't say I blame the guy.
Edwards, she's never too far from him. Let's be real.
Yeah, Edwards, I can see pushing for it, especially like with a team like Spurs looking at him. Maybe not like a Wolves, because I know Wolves was linked. I think the Champions League club would. And I guess Spurs is sort of the perfect story. Go from like not making it there to going to Portugal and coming back. So
when I watched their game.
You know what? I really can't think
Tottenham out in London. That's all they could talk about on the CBS feed was how he was a Spurs boy, and then he scored the goal. And it's like, how fitting is that? The guy who played for Spurs scored against Spurs.
Is he that much of a Spurs fan himself, personally?
I don't think he's a Spurs. I don't think he's a Spurs fan.
It's tough to suss out like what his level of love, because he doesn't. It's tough to suss out anything from the man, to be honest. But if he's like really a Tottenham boy, then yeah, I can see him trying to it's his club, right? Can we blame him if the Taça Liga doesn't happen? Not winning the league, probably not going to win the Europa League. I mean, if you had the opportunity, right, you would want to do it. But I don't really know how much of a Tottenham fan he actually is personally. If that's just know where he started playing and just happened to leave, and at a young enough age, and he doesn't even care. I don't know.
Looks like how many guys don't really play for the club that they grew up like Miguel Veloso, and Miguel Veloso's dad played for Benfica.
Yeah, they took him
Miguel
to Benfica.
Miguel Veloso, he got cut from the Benfica academy, came to Sporting, and he's always been a Sporting guy. He never went to Benfica. We're the only team he played for in Portugal. Right? So I think it does depend on like how connected does he feel to Spurs to maybe sit there and say, fuck it, I want to force a move.
It's about, setting his family up, financial, like doubling his bread, most likely, or more.
I'll never fault a player for chasing the bag. Like at the end of the day, like I get it.
Well, as we know from ADM, he doesn't have a girlfriend. As far as we know, he's on Tinder, he's on Bumble, he's on there.
Ladies, he is single.
He's married to the game, bro.
He's married to the streets.
But no, I've got a weird story about Marcus Edwards. So it's not really weird, but someone who was in my brother's year and used to play football with my brother is like Marcus Edwards' cameraman now, and like goes to the game. Like he went to Wembley, the Spurs game, and like filmed him, like playing, took pictures of him, and like
does he film them in England only, or does he go to Portugal and film them?
I think he's gone to Portugal a few times.
Okay,
I'll give him a shout out because he actually does make good stuff. If I can remember what it's called. But like it's just so weird, like how weird it is from like Stevenage, England, all the way to Sporting for Marcus Edwards. But
by way of Guimarães.
Kingston, Ontario, links to Beta Mar. Like, what do you want? Like distant links to the founding of the team. Like crazy things happen.
Yeah, so I found the account. It's Productions by Lorenzo. So feel free to follow that. Take some good images and does edits. Went to the World Cup as well, I think, and did some photography there. But yeah, small world, as they say. But yeah, just thought that was an interesting fact to get out of the way. But yeah, we'll move on to the more depressing stuff now, unfortunately, and that is this weekend's game against Maritimo. which unfortunately resulted in a 1-0 loss. Porto dropped points, so we could have overtaken
For
them.
us.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
Benfica drop points as well
us.
that game week as well, right?
It was last week, not this week. They dropped points.
Mm-hmm.
So the squad is as follows. As I said, it was a 1-0 victory to Marítimo. We had Adan in goal, Coates, Matias Rice, Inacio, Pedro Porro, Arthur Gomez at left back, Mateus Fernandes in the midfield, Ugarte, Marcus Edwards, Trincao, Paulinho. Unfortunately, Mateus Fernandes was the one who gave away the penalty. Nuno Santos, Rochinha, and St. Just, as well as Jovan, came from off the bench. Chris, I'll start with you. What were your overall thoughts on the game?
My overall thoughts were that the overall experience was very unpleasant. The first 20 or so minutes were the peak of the action, I would say. We took initiative. We actually kind of looked dangerous. We created a couple chances. I think that was actually probably the best period of the game for us, other than minutes 88 through 92, where we had a couple chances again. But yeah, it was just it felt like out of ideas. It was either 0-0 or 1-0 loss, and sadly it was the even worse outcome, the 0-point performance. Yeah, I mean, we just can't seem to win here.
It's always Marítimo in Madeira.
Yeah.
It's always them.
1 win in the last 8 is a terrible record. They honestly, to be honest, we made slight work of the last place team, Pass Freire, the week before, dismantled them.
What happened to them, by the way? They're on 3 points.
Didn't even look like they deserved to be on the same field as us. These guys are, in theory, only slightly better than them, the second to worst team.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they probably, I feel had probably one of their better performances recently. They're the type of team where they're signing guys. They had January signings, just hopping off planes and playing in this game, right? They're so desperate that they're just signing guys to instantly play. And they put together a decent performance, created some chances. If they were a little bit more efficient, I feel could have scored a goal from open play. They get the penalty due to the reckless challenge. And that's ultimately the decider. I mean, that's why I said it could have been probably 0-0 or 1-0, because, I just don't think we did enough to score. We didn't. I felt like it wasn't even Cruzabal, because Cruzabal infers that we even have the ball in their final third and are just spamming it in. There was just nothing. No line breaking whatsoever. It was a very, very sad performance. Arthur Gomes, I'm looking at his rating just to pick on him, 4.7. I mean, bro, I didn't even remember him being on the field, dude. His performance was just so non-existent.
I forgot he started.
The ghost of Arthur Gomes was out there apparently. Yeah, and that's really all I have. There's no memorable performances I feel to take away from this. Porro's beautiful first-time ball and a decent effort by Paulinho is probably the peak of the game.
That was the highlight of the game.
That was a great save.
Great save.
A hell of a save.
Porro let it ride past him. First-time cross, perfect right to him.
Yeah.
I was thinking if that goes in, I think we're winning 3 or 4. Because I think
probably they would have collapsed. Probably,
yeah.
Because it doesn't take much for a team like this to collapse. I feel
no, they would have.
But the longer it goes on, they just keep building.
No, the longer it stayed 0-0, the worse it was for us, the better it was for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Rich, take away. What were your overall thoughts on the game?
I know a lot of people are shouting ref controversy about this game. There's first of all, Porto was diving left, right, and center. There was
few people that were diving.
The one that I think they had a case on was when he got pushed, but there was one where he came flying in and he just jumped over the guy's leg.
That was immediately after the push.
Which was a minute after. It was so quick. I was like, Bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a wet fart of a game. This was so disappointing and just like dull and disjointed. Like, yeah, Marítimo just we were actually probably lucky to get out of the first half 0-0 because Marítimo didn't play that bad. He's very little ad. Like Chris kind of summed up what I wanted to say. It was just we didn't do enough to score to begin with. There was like almost no sense of urgency. The penalty was a dumb penalty to give away, but it's a young, 19-year-old player, so like mistakes are gonna get made. The starting lineup was such a mishmash of people too. Like Artur starting at left back, Mateus Fernandes starting at all. Yeah, it was weird a little bit in that lineup. It was just I feel like anything that could have gone wrong kind of went wrong. Like they did nothing they had no urgency, didn't do enough to score, and that's all I gotta say. And it's always in Madeira as well. It's always against Marítimo in Madeira where shit happens with this team.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. It was an awful performance. The best player I thought for us was Paulinho, but that's not even saying much.
No.
I think the like we said, the save was out of this. Like I think it was a phenomenal save, one of the best saves this season.
I played net. I could never make that save. That was a hell of a save.
Yeah, and I think, like Chris said, there was no even I'd say Paulinho was the best player, but it wasn't. He didn't have a great game or even a good game. He was just the best of a bad bunch. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, especially the subs, Jovan, that corner he took. I just can't get it out of my head. As a professional, you should be able to take a corner.
Yeah.
Like, if it goes too far, okay. If it goes too short, fair enough. If it doesn't even make it in the box, then
I could have got that ball in the box. Oh my God, Jovan! What the hell was that?
I was also surprised to see Rochinha is alive and well.
He is alive. Well, he's alive. I don't know about well. He's alive.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good until like the finish where he had like the open header. I thought he impacted the game quite well. Would have
come back anyways, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how Javan's got a 5'6". I thought it was like he took the corner, and other than that, I don't remember a single thing.
I remember nothing from him. I think he might have dribbled into a guy like he usually does at least once a game.
That was genuinely like his highlight.
That was about it. Was those two? I think he dribbled into a guy and he fucked up a corner. Like,
yeah, and I felt bad for Artel Gomez as well, playing at left wing back. It's obviously just not his position. Like,
no, you could tell he looked uncomfortable
compared to Nuno Santos as well, who looks like a natural.
Trincao is horrible as well. I thought
Trincao's dog shit. I'm sorry. That's such a waste of transfer funds for us. That's such a waste of fucking money and time.
It was considered a discount price at the time.
At the time, yeah. Now we have hindsight, and it's aged like milk on a hot day. Like it's just not turned out great.
Yeah, it feels tough. He's just one of those guys you just have to keep playing him and hope that he picks his form up again. But it's not really working so far. As far as I honestly feared for the worst as far as the ref crying, because I feel like ref crying after this game is embarrassing because the performance is so bad and like so undeserved, and the incident in question is, in my opinion, very questionable even to begin with. So to be ref crying is crazy. And like obviously like guys like Manuel Fernandes are going to be doing that, sadly.
Miguel Braga, 100%.
And Miguel Braga, just literally their job to be annoying in that way. They're employed for that reason.
Yeah,
so they're going to do that.
Just defend the club.
So, but I'm actually very happy to see that it like wasn't more widespread because like, I don't even think the guy fully extends his arm. Porro slows up. He's looking for the contact. He's diving a minute later. Mateus Reis is diving. Nuno Santos is diving. There's a lot of diving going on. They're trying to get a penalty.
And then it bit him in the ass the other end with a legitimate penalty. Ultimate irony.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, as well, if this was like our first loss of the season, then I think maybe it's okay to blame referees. But since we've been so poor throughout this season, we've lost so many games already, it's like there's not an excuse, and it's a lazy excuse if you're blaming the referee. I did think that Porro one, like Rich said, was a penalty. I
when
don't
he pushed him in
understand.
the back. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why that wasn't even looked at, and like it just
No,
seemed to
it
be.
wasn't. You're right. It wasn't looked at. I forgot about that.
But on the flip side, Matheus
There was the
Fernandes.
handball one though too, which was a bit weird, which they did stop and look at, and then
It was a
played
very
on.
quick. It was a very brief
There was no
look.
clean angle of it as well. It seemed like there was only
No.
that one angle that they had.
And it looked like it was filmed with a Nokia phone from like 2012.
Yeah.
So like, if you don't have, it's the thing. It's the rule in most sports with video review. If you don't have enough to overturn the original call stands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that Matheus Reis one, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a penalty when I saw it. Obviously, the replay comes in.
it looks worse in real time, and then you see the replay. It's like, oh, not so much.
Yeah, it was very, very clever from the Marítimo defender actually, because he knew exactly what he was gonna do. Like he timed it to perfection.
He's been playing Portuguese league for a while, probably. Like he's been in that position before. He knows what to not do.
Yeah, exactly. I did feel bad for Matheus Fernandes. He got a lot of stick of like not being ready and that, but it was literally like a split second. Like we get the courtesy of getting replays and seeing it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
For him, it's literally a split the second decision, and I think it was genuine accident. And of course, it's inexperience. He's what 18, 19. He's going to make mistakes.
He's a literal child. Like he's still young. Like, he's learning.
It's a really weird play too, because the Marítimo player like doesn't even find the ball. He's like looking, and he like doesn't even find the ball till the last second. And I feel like Matheus Fernandes' foot like misses the back of his like calf, and then like catches him again, like as it like goes down the second time. You know.
Yeah,
it's very unfortunate, but
and as well, he's not even like our third choice or even fourth choice midfielder, because you go Ugarte, Morita, Pot at the moment. And last game was the Suga who got the start over him. So does that make, so does that make Matheus Fernandes the fifth choice?
He's between four. He's between 4 and 6. Yeah. That's what we know for sure. Because Braganza's hurt, so Braganza would be ahead of him. Sotiris doesn't even exist. I don't think
Sotiris is like number 20. he'll put Andre Paulo in midfield instead of him.
Is he even a real person? I think he might just be a figment of all of our imaginations at this point.
He's a 5 minutes of an in-league cup blowout player.
And then didn't Amram still criticize him afterwards?
Like, he fucked up this 1.5 pass. Yeah, I'm convinced he's not even a real person at this point. I've barely seen him.
But yeah, just a shocking game, a shocking performance. I'm not going to ask you who your man of the match was, because I don't think there is any. But yeah, it seems...
anybody who didn't have to watch this game, you're the man of the match. Anybody who didn't watch this game, whether they
thankfully, here's the thing. Thankfully, it was going on at the same time as football was, because it was on the East Coast. Sunday at 1 was kickoff, which is the same time as kickoff for football. So at least there was like 2 things going on, so I didn't have to 100% of the time kill myself watching it.
No, I had other entertainment, thankfully.
Yeah, it was a good thing the game was at 6, but it's a shame we lost, because like I love 6 p.m. kickoffs. I don't want to 9:15 kickoffs are so pointless.
Yeah.
Like
I love a 1 p.m. kickoff on a weekend, like, because like our time anyways, it's so much nicer.
Yeah.
Like we get kickoffs that go on like 4 time, and
because the 9
they're awful just for us. So I can't even imagine someone like you, Sam, living in London with like a 5-hour time change being ahead of us. Like that's gotta be dreadful. It sucks for us. Like,
and even in Portugal, like people don't want to go visit stadiums that late, because you have to think about it. Not only are they going to stadiums, they need to get travel if they get in trains or metros or even driving. They're going to be in cars for ages.
Well, the latest games start like here in Canada, the States, like 8 o'clock, 8:30. That's the latest I've seen a game start, like in a time zone. It's like 8:30 p.m. in whatever time zone they're in.
Sometimes NBA final starts at 9. But that's really it.
Sometimes. But even then, like I remember when I last really watched the NBA finals, it was always like at 8 o'clock, because they want to get it in between East and West Coast our time, because we're Canada and the States are fucking huge. There's like 8 time zones. Like,
yeah, I think they should do the model that the Premier League do, where it's like early kickoff 12, and then a few kickoffs at 3 or 2 at 3.
I love the Premier League model.
Yeah, and then do some at 6. But I understand why they do them like they don't do 2 games at a time because obviously they want as much exposure as possible. But that just means having games so late. It's just that's why stadium attendance numbers, especially for Sporting in these times, are just awful. Like they're awful normally, but then the 9:15 kickoffs just don't.
Yeah, if you have a shitty kickoff time, like it's
9:15 on a Wednesday against Pasadena.
Like that's brutal. Like I don't know if you could pay me to go to that. Like
depends where I'm coming from. Depends where I'm coming
if I'm like right there, like I could swing it. If I have to go if I have to go more than like an hour out of my way for
it's not gonna happen probably. Yeah.
Like I could justify
and that's probably how a lot of people feel.
Well, yeah, you can't blame them.
In addition to the money that it costs as well.
Still way more affordable than coming to see a game like in Canada and the States, though, I will say. Like, in comparison. Like, when I see people piss them off, I'm like, oh, you should try going to an NHL game or an NBA game and see what you're going to pay there.
Yeah, like the cheapest tickets in, like, NBA are, like, not even, like, the most expensive ones in football.
Well, I worked in junior hockey, which is like a level below, like it's like amateur still, and like our cheapest tickets were like $15-$20, and people still complain. If that's junior hockey, what do you want?
I'm going to Brooklyn Nets versus Celtics.
That's a good game.
Thursday in Brooklyn, and I'm in the top level, and I paid $85 US dollars for my ticket.
We went
that's like among the cheaper ones.
Yeah, we went to Ottawa. Yeah. We drove. We spent New Year's in Ottawa, so we drove like the 2 hours from Kingston. Because Kingston, for anybody who doesn't know, we're like in between all the major cities in Canada. So we're like literally 2 hours away from like Ottawa, 3 away from Toronto, 3 away from Montreal. And I think a ticket sitting not quite at the tippity top, but like at the bottom of like the lower of the top bowl was like $40 for like a run of the mill game against a shitty team. But like I've seen those, but like we used to get free tickets from a provider at work, and those like tickets up by the glass would be like $200-$300 depending on the game, because they'll price jack it for a good team.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. The next game was the one before. Even was the Braga game, or was there a game in between?
It was Paç Ferreira before, and then Braga was the demolition against Braga.
Okay, so I'll get up that one first. Cool. Actually, I think Goal Point have that one because it was a league game, right?
A league game, Goal Point. It's the toss of the Liga that Goal Point won't have.
This was another one, bro. You just were much like the Braga game before it. We were just, all over them. Goal immedially.
It was the Braga goal the first few minutes.
Braga goal came in 1 minute, and I think this goal came in like 4 minutes. So if you go up 1-0 inside 5 minutes, it'll go a long way. Especially if you're playing the last place team in the league that has not won a game all season.
They have 3 points. Like when I didn't realize till like I looked
3
at the
draws
until I looked at the standings like after this game, and I was like, holy shit! What's the record? Does anybody know for the least amount of points? Because that's got to be close.
Great question. I remember like in the Premier League season, like 06, 07 or something like that. Derby County had like 11 points or something. Yeah,
we were running numbers on I think it was Sheffield United a year or 2 ago, but they won a game with like a few games. I'm curious what the record is just for Portugal in general, because unless it's 0, like they got to be close.
Yeah, they're definitely not on pace.
No.
Just to answer this guy's question quickly, CR. The thing with Nuno Santos was that, but at the time he was 1 yellow away. Well, he still is 1 yellow away from being suspended, and I guess we were trying to rest him for Benfica, thinking we would beat Maritimo. So that's why he didn't play the game. He was rested because Nuno Santos picks up a yellow card every other game.
Yeah, so I think it was a simpler time. We had hope. We were optimistic.
Yeah, it was just a case of trying to save a player.
I get it.
Especially Nuno Santos. Yeah, getting a yellow. So that was it. But anyway, we'll move on to this game. 3-0 demolition of Paços de Ferreira. I'll start off with our lineups. In goal, we had Adan, Nuno Santos, Matias Reis, Coates, Inacio Pedroporo, Pot, Esuga, who got sent off, Marcus Edwards, Trincao, and Paulinho with the goal. Jovan, Artur Gomez, Rodrigo Ribeiro, Matias Fernandez, and Sotiris all came on. Rich, I'll start off with you. What were your overall thoughts on this game?
Well, not Dario Asugo's finest moment. We'll start with that.
That was like
something else.
I rarely look at a tackle in football and like wince, but that one was like that could have been so much worse than what it is. Luckily that like it wasn't a broken leg because
I remember the last I've recently the youth player from Leicester who got like caved right in.
Yeah,
and that was my immediate thought was that. No, thank goodness it wasn't. It looked worse than what it actually was. But yeah, not his finest moment. Let's get that out of the way. Smarten up. Yeah, not very little to complain about in this game, if anything, other than that. Like we dominated, could have won by a lot more, but we'll take a 3-0 win. Nuno Santos looked like, I mean, he's the man of the match in this game, clearly. He had a goal. He was just running his ass off all over the place, running his mouth when he wanted to. It was good to see Paulinho getting on the score sheet again. He's had some really good momentum since we started the games up kind of after the World Cup. So it's nice to see him. And I think some of the hate and stuff from fans has kind of died down, which I'm happy for him because he was getting shit on a lot. I'm like, he's trying, man. Like, give him a break. Yeah, I was happy with everybody. There was very little to complain about other than the Asugo challenge, which was just a reckless challenge. You got to be smarter about that. Like that could have been so much worse. I'm glad that it wasn't worse. Because yeah, that was like you said. You don't wince a lot of challenge in soccer or football. I was like, oh shit, that looks, just on first glance it looked bad, but thankfully it didn't turn out worse than what it was.
Yeah, most definitely. Chris, what were your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of steamrolled him. I thought Porro was balling in this game.
Yeah.
Nuno Santos as well. On the third goal, just like the perfect play by Nuno Santos. We're just I feel like, yeah, I mean, like I was saying this a little bit before we went live, like after like the Braga game before this and then this game, it's just like prior to the Ritmo game, like I was actually like we were on a roll, kind of.
We had momentum.
Even got in our own way. That, like we crushed a couple teams in the Taça da Liga in mid-January. Like we were cruising. I think it was 7-8 straight wins maybe in all competitions. And then it all just came apart in Madeira. Yeah, yet again. No Alcachet out after this one, but
I feel like that's been the story of this season is anytime we gain some semblance of momentum, we just don't know how to get out of our own way. And we find a way to just
I know, we just needed one more win going into the derby, to be feeling good about it.
Well, you would have been feeling amazing, yeah.
Now all of the wind is taken out of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
are we at home or away, by the way, for the derby?
Away, I think.
Away.
Oh God, my brother.
And also, I think the answer to your question of the worst team is Union Leiria in 07. I think they had 13 points.
Oh, Posh is breaking that.
I don't know if there's any team that's worse than that.
That was a sick.
In like 1950 or something. But.
That was one in 06, 07 when we had 16 teams still in the league. So if you break that record with like you break that record with 4 extra games to play. Christ, you deserve to get
good for you.
Good for I don't know about good for you, but that's certainly not a distinction you want to hold. I don't think.
It's crazy because they were in the Conference League not too long ago.
They got a win over Tottenham like a year and a half ago. No, like in the
Conference
League.
Tottenham.
They beat Tottenham at home, and then they got steamrolled when they went to London. Because we were all holding out hope to help the coefficients, and we had hope for about a week.
Yeah, but I'll give my quick thoughts and we can move on because we got other games to cover. But yeah, Asugo's tackle was stupid, and like I said with the Matias Fernandez one, it was just an experience. I think even Amorim said that he was just trying to get to every ball, and sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you can let have a bit of space. But yeah, horror tackle. Glad that the player's okay. I'm sure Asuga will be fine, like mentally coming back. But yeah, I thought like Paulinho getting a goal is always a win for me in my book. You know, up to that point, he was like, I think that was his like 4th consecutive game with a goal.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was. And Edwards with an assist. Nuno Santos was great. Obviously, man of the match, got an informal FIFA for it as well. So clearly he's doing something right. Hopefully he can replicate that against Benfica as well. But yeah, this one, like Chris said, like we won a roll, and I was looking confident. To be honest, I wasn't really thinking about the game with Marítimo. I was more just focused on Benfica. That's probably where I went wrong, and probably where some of the players went wrong as well.
They got too far ahead of themselves.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. Especially like we'll get into it, but the game over Braga made me think like we're back, like we're unstoppable, like because that's what it looked like. We saw same Braga team take points off Benfica.
Yeah,
so it's like it was
what the
crazy
hell's
to
going
me.
on?
Yeah, and like they took points off us, and like the first game of the season, and it's just
bonkers draw. Yeah,
it was just
forgot about that.
absolutely crazy. And then obviously going to Marítimo we lose, but yeah, it was a great game. It feels weird talking about it because we know what the outcome was afterwards, but yeah, definitely a good performance. And you know, grateful to get the 3 points in this game at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on to everyone's favorite competition, which is the Taça da Liga.
We run this shit. This is our tournament.
Back-to-back 5-0s.
I didn't even care about the World Cup. I was just mostly caring about the Taça da Liga group stage.
Tired is World Cup, wired is Taça da Liga.
So the lineup was as followed: Edan, Inas. That's a weird name.
What do you have? Do you have? Google
I think
Translate
I've
on?
translated on. Yeah,
that's why.
Goro Ignatius.
Goro Ignatius. Who else? Everybody else.
Mateus Kings.
But they gave you fucking Trincao. They couldn't find a fucking translation for Trincao. Good for you.
Gunk.
Bro. Mateus Kings goes kind of hard, you know.
Mateus Kings.
But anyway, yeah, Inacio Coates, Mateus Reis, Peter Porro instead of Pedro Porro.
Big Pete from the
Manuel Ugarte, Pot, Nuno Santos, Trincao, Paulinho, Edwards. Paulinho, again, for me, getting a goal is a win, especially, I think that's the first goal he ever scored against Braga.
I think you're right.
Shout out to him. Trincao with a goal against his former club as well. I said Paulinho already. Marcus Edwards, Pedro Gonzalez, who people might not know, came from the Braga Academy, so technically scoring against his former club as well. Inacio getting one as well. Esgaio coming on, did not score against his former club, unfortunately. Sotiris, Esu, Otto Gomes, and Jovan came on. To be honest, I don't really remember much of this game, but Rich, I'll start off with you. What were your overall thoughts?
We scored like 4 minutes in, so I was like, okay, cool, and then it just didn't
quicker than that. I think it might have been inside 1 minute, to be honest.
Zoom in and go back.
It says 4, but I think it was 3 or 3.
It felt like 1 minute. Like, yeah, they scored immediately, and then they scored again, and then they had the penalty, and it was just
here's what it was. They had like 5 chances in the first minute. It was just bang, 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 and then
that's what it was. It was like Braga didn't get it.
Yeah.
It was 5-0 at halftime. I don't think I watched a bit of the first. I watched like a bit of the first half at work. It was a slower day.
Second half was just not.
Second half I didn't even bother because I'm like, it's 5-0. If you manage to blow this game, I fold the fucking team.
We had like 2 chances and they had 1. There really wasn't much going on.
I think at that point it was just a pact of non-aggression. Let's just finish this fucking game. Like neither of us want to be here at this point. Like we got other shit to worry about. We're going into Christmas, or whatever. Like, let's leave.
We did get honestly like I think I don't know if it was the first or the second penalty, but one of them is like a kind of soft push, you could say.
I think it was the second one, but I
think it was about as equal as the push as the Porro one. You know, I'm not really sure though, but it was about. I would say it was in the realm of like very slight nudges, you could
Yeah.
say.
It
Got
was
one,
in-
got. I
It was
wish
in
we
the
got
realm
the
of
other
you
one,
could
to be
easily just
honest.
not call
Yeah.
it and you wouldn't really
Yeah.
say about it. It was a 50.
I wish we got the other one, but yeah, we got this one. Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
just steamrolled them, bro. They never had a chance. It
Yeah.
was 3-0 inside 17 minutes, I think.
And they played like pretty much they played like their A team too, for the most part. Like I saw that's what was more baffling to me as well. It's not
That's
like
what I
they
was
played
thinking.
it's not like they played a bunch of fucking juniors or guys from the B team or people I've never heard of. Like this was their A team.
Yeah, like they got their full team out, and when I saw the lineup, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be. I thought it was gonna be one of them games that is just like 0-0 until like the last minute, and then
It was just gonna be a
it.
stinker.
But no, I wonder what the betting odds were for 5-0 as well. I mean,
if someone bet the over, they probably cashed out. They probably cashed out big because I would have taken more than like a goal or two happening in this game. So if you bet like over 2 or 3 goals in this game, you probably made.
Especially it's only 90-minute game, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to add again. Was happy to see Paulinho score. I do feel even though he didn't score against Marítimo, he definitely got a lot more confidence in shooting the ball and like getting them on target at least. And I feel like he plays with a lot more, almost like carefree. Like obviously he still runs and does what he does for the team, but he's also good up front. And it seems like he has less pressure on him now. I don't know if that's due to there's been things of him going to like therapy and going to a therapist and a sports psychologist. And
I think too, there's been guys that the fans have been egging on a bit more than him too. Like even if he's not putting a great performance, it's like, well, Trincao played like shit today, or so and so played like shit today. So I think that helps him. That's great. You should if you're gonna yell at a guy on social media, like fucking touch grass. But end of the day, I think that might have something to do is there's less and less hate directed at him, and it's kind of unfortunately being redirected at other players.
And like he's got his own song as well, so like he's definitely like a fan favorite. I know Lauren, if she's still here, is like a massive Paulinho hater, as is Juicebox Leal, who like he despises Paulinho. Paulinho could invent and cure for every disease in the world, and he'd be like, nah, don't like him.
What's the meme? It's like if he has no hate, if he has 100 haters, I'm one of them. If he has one hater, I'm the hater. If he has no haters, I'm dead. That's what it is.
But yeah, I don't think there's any other stuff on this game unless
we have a lot of I think we just have the news dumps, which we got a lot of to get through.
We do have a lot of random news dumps, to be honest.
Yeah. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the Ronaldo? Do we want to start with the logo team?
Just before, I think, did we cover Marítimo in the last podcast, or was that? Did we cover that?
I think we got that in the last one.
Yeah, I feel like we got that one.
I just see this question just before we go. So Jack says, "Hi guys, newbie here. Thanks for the great pod. Thank you for listening."
My condolences.
God, we're jealous that you can go to the games though.
Yeah.
Like,
we're stuck. Like we're stuck all in different countries and like across the ocean, so like it's not as easily accessible to go to a game.
And also like this may seem like a bit of like a armchair fan, but because we're doing so well, like usually I go every year to go watch them, but I don't want to.
Yeah,
I just don't. I went to see the Tottenham game, to be fair, and I feel like that's enough.
When they went to Tottenham,
yeah, I was there, and that was
a hell of an away day. That looked like we knew a lot of people like that went.
Maybe we'll get like Man U in the Europa League if we both advance or something.
Yeah,
I'd go to that, but like. And maybe if we get far in Europe and we get like a cool away day, like I would go. But
where's the Europa League final? I think it's this year. Actually, I want to see.
I've googled this like 3 times and I still can't remember it.
We're gonna.
I always know
now.
It's like I want to say it's like a country, maybe like Azerbaijan.
I feel like it's an Eastern European. It's in Hungary. It's in Budapest, where they played some of the games at the Euros last year.
Great city, from what I've heard.
I've heard positive things about it. That's where it is this year. Is at the Puskás Arena in Budapest, Hungary. So,
all right, I'll go. I mean, if we make it.
It was in Seville. It was in Seville. It was in Seville, like Sevilla last year, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Jack, by the way. You picked the good Lisbon, well, not the good Lisbon side, but the best, not even the best. I'm trying to think of the word.
You picked a side. You picked a side.
You picked the right side. There we go of Lisbon, I suppose the green side.
It's certainly a choice.
Yeah, like we're here for your open therapy when you inevitably need it, because you will.
We've been watching. Like I've been watching this team since I was like 5, and like we've seen some things.
I mean, he is a Tottenham fan, so I mean, he's
probably seen some things as well. But until you've seen your team lose a European final at home to a team you never heard of,
nice. I can't remember if it was Danny and Steph, or maybe Chris, you were here when the Alcochete attacks happened. I remember we did a podcast on that. But yeah, that must
have been a hell, by the way, to do that, because no one knew what was going on.
Yeah, it was also really confusing. The amount of fake news at that time was crazy. It would be like George Jesus is walking out. All the players refuse to play. The youth team is going to play the last game of the season. Like
the final, yeah. And then it's like they're not going to play the final, and then they're
not playing against Obs. Like there was a lot of shit that was said that just didn't end up happening. But a lot of shit did end up.
They said like everybody was gonna rescind, and like 8 guys rescinded.
It was still crazy.
And like it was all these like we're gonna have all these wild court cases with each player, and we ended up settling everything out of court anyway. Like there was. It was such a mess.
Going down for like international terrorism. Yeah, there was a lot of shit.
It was a mess. Like that was an embarrassing fucking time to be a fan. Like,
yeah,
if you're that riled up over a fucking game, like I don't know what to tell you. Like, like I get being annoyed and upset, but if you're gonna get that riled up that you need to resort to physical violence, like you need to check your priorities. That's a little extreme.
Yeah, like I mean, there's no defending it. But...
No, you're a fucking moron. Like when you're that pissed off at over a game, like come on.
Yeah, but like. Yeah, that was definitely like when people say that. Oh, I've supported my club through times. Like you've never seen your fans attack your own players, and then your best players leave for free,
and then you get them all for like a frat. I mean, now some of those prices have aged fine because like Jelson is nothing.
Yeah,
we got like 18 million plus Vieto for him. Patricio probably was fair looking back, but.
The only one that was a big miss, I think, was Liao. Like we could have made
Liao and William.
We could have made João Felix money on that. I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Liao and William were the two that really like sucked. Liao especially. I'm seeing this comment. I'll check it out. It sounds crazy. It's very serious. You're pretty much shitting on ultra culture. Ultra culture is fine until you start acting like an absolute fuckwit. There's a fine line between like it's a great atmosphere and it's great for the game. And
no, I mean just I believe in all the conspiracy theories. But the fact of the matter is the attack still happened. Like the videos aren't like fake.
Like Vaz got beat the shit with the belt. Like he did not.
I think the problem more so is that the way that it was taken advantage of in a way that was not normal. Like for example, like the Marseille had happened, Guimarães like
even like 2 months after there was a Benfica fan threw a brick through a window and it hits I think Servi in the face. That was never like spoken of again.
It's not to excuse these actions, but they do sometimes unfortunately occur. But just the way that it was taken advantage of at Sporting was very suspicious, to say the least.
And it sucks because like now there's not much of an atmosphere at the stadium. Because a couple assholes had to ruin it for everybody, and that's such is life.
But... Yeah, I mean, you can honestly trace back, like like that meme of like all the dominoes lining up. Like the stadium is dead.
It's
the stadium
shambolic.
Is dead.
Like I don't.
There needs to be a new administration for the stadium.
I don't know how
it
comes across live either, but like on streams and on TV, like it comes across as like okay, they sing a mood sub kid, and then that's it.
Yeah, there's not much going on there.
The whole thing with that is like Alcochete, like it all started from obviously we were shit but Marcus Acuna arguing with them two fans.
I think it started sooner when Bruno came out publicly on Facebook and just ripped the team apart.
I think that was after Marcus Acuna had that beef with the two fans.
Well,
I think
when did he have the beef? Was it after the Athletic? Because it was, I know, after the
Atletico Madrid game, yeah. When he accused Coentrao of getting sent off deliberately. I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like as soon as that happened, it was like the beginning of the downfall, because I'm like, you can't come out and just rip on your team. Like, go rip them in private. If you want to rip into shreds with them in the locker room, have at it. I have no very little issue with that. Don't come out on Facebook and just start ripping your players apart, because that's the last. They know
that's our job.
They know they feel bad. Like, that's our job. That's what the fans are there for. They don't need to hear it from the president, because I feel like that just justifies some of these idiots and going and doing what they did. Where it's like, well, if the president thinks they're fucking idiots, maybe we got to straighten them out ourselves, and that's what it was.
Yeah, was this the original January 6th, bro?
This is the original January 6th. We were doing insurrections before it was cool.
But we'll move on, because this has been beaten into the mud so many times.
Yeah.
But there's not just one entity to blame. I love Bruno Fabio, but the Facebook post was stupid. And I think he's even said in the past that he regrets doing that.
Yeah.
Then there's also the stuff around, like Chris said, the media blew it way out of proportion. Even some of the players, I remember, obviously I didn't think they should rescind, but I'm not, I can understand why certain players wouldn't feel safe going back there.
It's easy as a fan to sit there I would never turn my back.
When you read the lawsuits of how they couldn't even sleep, it's like, if you can't sleep because you're reliving this traumatic event, doubling your salary is the thing that makes you be able to sleep again. I mean, it just comes across like they were milking it, right? You know?
Yeah. It's easy as a fan too to sit there and say I would never turn. Oh, he's sitting on this pod. Maybe Richard wasn't aware of that. I forget the BDC pod that when he was on here.
A lot was said.
He said a lot. He said a lot of stuff, but he also said a lot of nothing on that pod. He talked a lot.
He did.
It was really good, but he spent the first 45 minutes. I just said, "How are you?" And I was expecting a 5-minute answer.
He took it and ran. You guys didn't even get the Twitter
COVID
questions.
And conspiracy theories. I was like, "Shit." We literally, Chris can vouch, we had 20 questions that we
I know, because
I think we got through 6.
After. You guys were I remember after days we couldn't even get to Twitter questions. I'm like, no, that's rough. That was you asked him how you were doing, and he just took it and fucking ran. He went with it. That dude can monologue.
Yeah. It was a great episode though, nonetheless.
It was really good. I'd love to have him on again. If he'd be willing, because I feel like there's a lot of questions you didn't get to ask, unfortunately.
I think he's just done with football now. He doesn't like speaking about it, doesn't like hearing it.
I can't blame him, honestly.
And every now and again he'll drop a nugget. I feel
just randomly insult George Jesus on a Wednesday afternoon.
He exists he exists in this the stan culture world. I feel you know what I'm saying, the pop culture world,
like a bubble.
He's not in the sports world anymore, but that world is a very that world has tons of fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more, right? It's a more broad based fan base. It's old people, it's young people, it's very ranging.
Mm-hmm.
So he exists in this alternative world now. So every now and again he'll get asked in an interview with some random pop magazine
how was your time
about sporting thing, and he'll say something you've never heard before. And you'll have to go through 7 different means of media for it to even make it to you, because it's starting from a pop magazine outlet in Portugal, and it has to make its way all the way to me, you know. So it's so that is interesting. Every now and again he'll
I can't say I blame him for wanting to be done with football, because he probably does sick of answering the same fucking questions.
To be honest, I'm actually it feels like his life could be infinitely worse than it is now. A lot worse things could have happened to him. I'm just glad to see that he's living a life that seems fulfilling, because for a while there, it did not even seem like that was even a realistic possibility anytime soon, you know?
Well, he was accused of domestic abuse to his current, now wife.
His partner at the time,
Big Brother, which
He was on Big Brother. I forgot it, but that feels like 30 years ago too.
But even
Feels
like his,
so long
his
ago.
music career seems to be going like okay. Like
DJ
I listened to some of
Bruno.
it. It's not really. I don't like house music and that, but like
Yeah.
it was okay for like someone who doesn't like that stuff. But
I'm happy he's doing okay. Like it's nice to see that he's moved on and he's just kind of doing his own thing. Like I think that's the ultimate thing. Like I don't wish ill will on anybody. And I really like the guy when he was president, but at the end I'm like you're digging yourself a hole. So it's nice to see he's kind of just able to chill and lay back and do his own thing and hopefully live kind of semi in peace. Like that's good for him.
Yeah, they were, dude. The media circus like around him at the time, they were like camped outside of his house and shit.
It was bad.
Like even I remember there was this one like,
filming like in the window, seeing if they could like get a glimpse,
a glimpse of like him doing any semblance of activity. It was awful.
I remember he stormed the stadium as well, like a briefcase of documents saying that he was technically still the president.
Yeah, I was some Trumpian shit for a minute though too.
What a man.
That was one. All right, we got a lot of news dumps to get into. What do we want to start with?
Yeah,
we can start with Ronaldo.
Yeah, we'll start.
Let's get into Ronaldo because I feel like there's a lot.
I mean, I don't really have much to say other than the part that I think is interesting is that the only Portuguese team that offered him any sort of deal was Porto, not
we don't even know if that was an official offer. All we know for sure is that they
chatted.
And to be honest, and Conceição, that's the only we don't even. Everybody's saying, well, he had offers from Portugal. I'm like, well, officially, like it doesn't seem like it. He just had like very informal talks with Pep and Conceição.
The thing is, as well, and I'm going to be 100% a hater there. Taremi is better than him right now. So, like, who gets dropped in that Porto team for Ronaldo? Like, I can't think of anyone. The mascot.
Tony Martinez doesn't play as much.
Yeah, even if Evan Nilsson, I don't think plays as much as
Evan Nilsson has a slight knee injury, but I think he's supposed to come back.
Yeah,
but like, he had a chance to return sport. If he wanted to do it, he would have. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. If he really wanted to come back,
I don't even know if that's true. Like, if he was like, I want to come to Sporting, like I'm willing to do what it takes to make it happen. I feel like we would not.
You don't think?
I feel like we were not willing to accommodate him.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna play again. I'm gonna go against it. I think if he really wanted to come back to Sporting, it would have happened. And now I'm never gonna fault a player for chasing the bag. But I'm also going to sit here and call a spade a spade. He doesn't give a shit about the fucking club. he's very.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't even presented the academy yet, right?
No,
he was supposed to come.
Academy after
he was supposed to come multiple times, and he's never come. No. And even inaugurated the Academia Cristiano Ronaldo. Bro.
Yeah.
Why do we even give him that? Verandas as well? Because I feel like his mum is quite close to Verandas, right? Like,
well, his mom's
she's invited to the dinners.
Just a Sportingista in general, I think. So
you would think that she's at least neutral on him, Dolores.
I don't think she's anything less than neutral. I think she's at the very least a neutral.
I would say
another thing to point out though. His son's not enrolled at the Sport Academy. He's enrolled at the fucking Real Madrid Academy. So that should tell you
that
a lot.
Is true.
That should tell you a lot about what he thinks of the team. I'm sorry to say. That should say a lot because
for his kid, I mean, in theory, Sporting Academy is the perfect academy for that age, right? I mean,
and they'll treat him like gold.
I bet it's higher ranked than the Real Madrid Academy.
Yeah,
Sporting's always consistently top 3 to 5.
Like teams come from around the world
Ajax
to study.
And like Shakhtar Donetsk.
Teams come from around the world to study like 4 or 5 academies: Sporting, Benfica, Ajax, La Masia, which is Barcelona, and one other one that I can't think of right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. But it's like those 4 academies, and we're one of them, and they always come to like see our academy. And the fact that he didn't enroll his kid in our academy, I think speaks a little bit of volume.
It's an hour closer to Riyadh, Madrid, so he's just trying to save time on the flight.
Sure.
Yeah,
because he needs to
save some money.
He's really penny pinching. I had to decide if I want to eat lunch today.
But yeah, just to add as well, like I've got two things to add quickly. Like I would be interested because I remember we like the podcast account got cooked in on Twitter for saying that Amorim. The rumor was that Amorim didn't want Ronaldo and said he would resign. Like we don't know if that's true. We reported it with the source.
That was very much just hearsay and just put it in the open.
Yeah, from Duncan
know.
Castles, I believe, but we got cooked for that. I still think it potentially could be true. I don't think it is, but it definitely. I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility.
I don't think it's totally on. I don't think it's totally on.
Well, I think the truth is that he doesn't want him, and he didn't want him. So, did he make threats? Maybe once when he was like feeling really some type of way about it. I don't know. Maybe.
I wouldn't.
After the sale of Matheus Nunes, I can see him doing 100% that, saying like, "You sold my player without my knowledge." And you want to bring in a player without, like, when I said no,
really
I
my
will
full
resign.
consent. Like, I'm not having this.
Yeah.
If he was in a bad mood that day, I could see it happening. Like, I wouldn't, and he would be well within his right as a head coach to feel that way.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to say personally is that Ronaldo is finished at the highest level now,
Done,
and he's proved it. And
absolutely fucking washed.
He's either, I believe, he probably did have offers from other clubs. But the fact
he had an offer from
Corinthians. Okay, but like in
my man is addicted to money. I think that is
the man who has everything
here.
Needs more of everything.
But here's the thing. Also, like we've seen this before, right? Frankie Lampard, even David Beckham, right? Zlatan, right? They're finished. They sign in the retirement league. Play a little
bit.
David
Beckham wasn't really finished though when he left. I'll play down. Like I remember when David Beckham
and they come back on loan, and then maybe they come back on a permit. Like
David Beckham though in his defense,
he's addicted to money. Here's what happened. He's addicted to money.
Yeah,
he had some offers from Europe, not anything that he was particularly excited about, and definitely for significantly less bread than he wanted / valued / thought his value was / what he was going to get from Saudi Arabia. He's like, I'm just going to go there. I'll tear it up. Come back to Europe on loan, and also I think he needs to get his form up, bro. He straight up has been playing horrible, right? Like
he's been playing ass. He's been awful.
I'm sympathetic to Sam because I could see why you would think he's finished, right? Because he's an eyesore, bro. Like watching him, like that South Korea game.
It was dreadful. That's one of the worst games. That's one of the worst games. I think.
The thing that annoyed me about that is that after we beat in the round of 16, who did
Switzerland.
We beat them.
Switzerland, didn't we?
Yeah, that was it. Gonzalo Ramos scored a hat trick, and he started the next game, which is fair. He scored a hat trick last game, and everyone was like, Ronaldo should have started.
Like, what do you mean?
Why?
He scored a hat trick.
Ronaldo,
you're gonna tell me you're gonna bench a guy who just scored 3 goals in one game.
Wasn't playing well during his cameos at Man U. Like the man hasn't played well in 6 months, which is fair. But do I think that he can play like better than that? For sure. Yes. He's not gonna score like 30 goals a season in a top European league, but he can play better than that. And so I think that if he gets a little form in Saudi Arabia, scores like 12 goals or something in the next 5 months to round out the season, second half of the season, they win the league, right? I think that he can maybe try to move to Europe on loan.
Maybe. Yeah.
And there was a report about that Newcastle thing, right? The Newcastle thing.
Yeah, but it got shut down like in a day.
They got shut down, but bro, like
if any team's going to take a chance on
it, that contract guarantees that he can leave on loan if the right offer comes. There's no fucking way that it doesn't.
If any team's going to take a chance on him, Newcastle would be the one because they're.
But here's the thing: if you're a team, why are you going to take a chance on low-key? Well, he sucks.
He's a PR nightmare.
Like he sucks. He's a nightmare, and he looks like he sucks. So why am I going to take him?
The only thing I was thinking about,
he has to prove that he doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Is Italy would have been the perfect place for him because, with no due respect to disrespect. The league is slower. A lot older players like Giroud, Zlatan, Quagliarella, for example, go there and still score double-digit
had like 30-goal seasons in Italy. Honestly, while like nowhere near playing his best footy.
No, exactly.
Yeah. But also the thing that makes that's why I said Ronaldo's finished is that interview. And now go back and watch it and watch how many times he contradicts himself from then to now. He said he wouldn't go to Saudi. If he went to Saudi, he said he would never go anywhere for money. It's not about money. He said he had offers from Europe. It's like, That's
He
3
had
lies.
like one. He had one like unofficial. He had an offer from Brazil. That
True. He did
had
have an
one
offer
offer from
from Corinthians.
Corinthians, which is one of the bigger clubs in Brazil, I can say.
Was the
And
same value as
his
the
Man United
Al-Nassr
contract.
deal. No fucking shot was it the same monetary value.
I mean, there's money in Brazilian football for sure. There's
But,
not
bro,
that money unless you're going to bankrupt.
Come
Maybe if
on.
John Texter was behind it for Botafogo.
John Texter's out and about.
He's sold his like half his net worth, bro, to finance this move.
Yeah, it's that interview wasn't such. It was such dumb timing too. Like he's got to show some self-awareness for once in his goddamn life. You're 38. You're a grown man. Act like it. Like
it's like me and Richard were saying in the group chat we're in that he did it before the World Cup as well, which also in our two opinions that ruined the morale and the team.
It's an unnecessary distraction.
Yeah, looking back, he could have done that since the time that they got eliminated and now, and he would still be able to leave in the January window. And he ended up rescinding anyways, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And it would have looked better if he didn't say anything. And then afterwards, like, let's say we do go further in the tournament. I don't think we're going to win. Let's say we get to the semi-finals.
I think we get to semi-finals. We were going to lose to France anyways.
But let's say he scores a few more and he just says afterwards, does the interview, yeah, I've scored this at the World Cup. I scored, let's say, 2-3 goals at the World Cup. I want to leave Man United. Do it that way. But he made himself look stupid by doing the interview and then contradicting himself so many times, but also putting the pressure on the Portuguese national team. Which, like, what I was saying was, it's definitely more the media's fault for keep asking these questions to Bruno Fernandes, Dalot. But it all stems back from the.
He has to show self-awareness to know that that's going to happen. You're Cristiano Ronaldo. Everything you do and say is going to get analyzed.
But if he didn't,
a shred of self-awareness.
Here's the thing: is if he didn't do the interview, though, they still would have been hounding him about where his next move was in January, because it was obvious that he was presumably leaving in the next month.
I think so. I think you're right.
They still would have been harassing him about that, but they wouldn't have been harassing all of the others. And honestly, it kind of screwed over like Bruno, but Bruno more so because he's more of like a leader on the team.
And Bruno had a hell of a tournament. And Bruno had a hell of a tournament. And
it's like, bro, why does Bruno have to answer to this, man? Like,
yeah, Bruno had a great tournament.
They're not teammates anymore. They're and because he had rescinded before the World Cup had been started, so it's like they're not teammates anymore,
the week
bro.
Before. No, it was just a mess. Like he's got main character syndrome. He needs to show some self-awareness and understand what he says carries some weight. And
well, now he can just keep being the main character if he wants.
Good for him. Go to your fucking blood money farmers league and enjoy.
Like, Talisca's going to be the main character there. What a baller!
Anderson, the legend himself. Anderson. They got rid of Abu Bakr.
I follow all Nasser now.
They got rid of Abu Bakr.
Nah, bro, I heard that he's staying now, and they're getting rid of somebody else.
Good, because that's like a FIFA 17 like career mode strike partnership for Ronaldo and Abu Bakr. That's like the players you get when you do like financial takeover and you just cheat the system. That's one of those partnerships.
But cool. We'll move on from there. Chris, did you have anything you wanted to specifically move on to?
Yeah, we could just talk about a couple other things that happened. So I think we talked on the last pod about like the Trevante Lane punch incident, or like he punched.
If it wasn't the last one, it was the one before.
Well, DJ Fenner's officially signed for a Polish club, so he quietly left Sporting. Sporting never announced it.
No, they did. They did. You're right. You're right.
I followed him on Instagram because I was going to reach out, but as I was typing the message, it made me think of the Slimani situation where he was made to sign an NDA. So I thought maybe he
might not be able to say anything. So I
didn't send it. But
so he signed for a Polish club. So I guess we'll never maybe ever fully know what happened.
Someone find the tapes. I want to see this fight.
To be honest. But
you need like the TMZ analysis, like a Jordan Paul.
Trevante won.
Be like the Draymond one. You slap the shit out of the guy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never get. I doubt we'll get the video, but I don't even think we're gonna get the story.
Somewhere it exists. I think somewhere it exists.
We talked about Lions store renaming.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't. Yeah, that's
so unnecessary.
I got no words. There was no need. Loja was a fine name. This was just changed for the
and it also made sense. The Lions doesn't really make sense. Like, are we buying Lions?
Like one word. It's also one word. It is one word, which is like
Yeah,
doesn't really matter.
that bothers me a little
Lion
bit. dude.
store. I feel like it should at least be 2 words, not one word. So there's it's classic.
Speaking of change for the sake of change. Speaking of change for the sake of change, alleged rebrand again for the second time.
That was
this
also
century.
something that was leaked. Was that they might be trying to update the logo, launching a rebrand of the logo. So that sparked a lot of debate.
Go back to the old one.
Things.
I do love seeing concepts of, even if it's badges, kits. That's like my favorite time of year.
I
Like
love
before
that.
they get leaked. All the
I do think that it is worth noting. A lot of people don't know this, and I actually didn't know either. And I was actually messaging some people that I know in Portugal, like might have some info, and I was reading old like forum posts and like blog posts.
Yeah, you did some research. I remember you saying.
And it was also like it was like Christmas or Christmas Day, and I had the flu on Christmas, so like I wasn't doing
that
shit.
sucks.
So I wasn't doing absolute shit except just like looking at my computer. So
yeah.
All right, what I was able to come up with is that when Sporting's logo was changed in 2001 to this current logo,
the one we have now.
Yeah, there was no vote, bro. There was nothing. No. It was just presented, and there was multiple statute violations that went on within the logo itself. It didn't matter. Like, I think there's
the violations where the lion wasn't white and it didn't have SCP.
Yeah, the SCP also didn't have it either. So it was just this, right? People thought that the three stripes here, the 3 lines, was going to get them in trouble with Adidas. Yeah, so there was a lot that went on. But basically, what I'm saying is that because a lot of people were like, "Oh, we'll have to vote on it." Even if we do have to vote on it, it'll probably just get approved. But
more than likely,
I don't even have the expectation that we're going to vote on it. I think it'll.
I just hope like whatever it is, it's not shit.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't suck. But
I hope we don't go like Juventus route where it's like absolute dog shit, or like Inter Milan route where we just ruin the crest. I still think the crest we had before, before this one, that the original, the one that we had in the 2018-2019 kits.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing like a slightly updated version, like slap the lion we have now onto that.
I'm still looking for that kit on eBay. It was like the one year I didn't buy a kit was that year.
You and me both. I found it on Classic Shirts in the springtime. In my size.
Oh, well, 2018-19?
Yeah, that's my favorite shirt that we've ever done outside the Centenary.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's one of the best shirts we ever had. I'll die on that hill. And,
I remember I was gonna buy it with Nanny on the back as well, and that would have looked so cool. But I remember seeing it,
and you know what? Reason. I remember seeing it like on sale on the Macron site as well still. And I was like, nah. And then after, I'm like, I should have fucking bought it. So when I saw it on Classic Shirts, I snatched up immediately. Like that day, like it was listed that day, I bought it that day.
I've been on the hunt on eBay, Depop, everything for that shirt.
Yeah.
It'll come. It'll come one day.
I saw the Centenary.
You just gotta give it a couple years,
one.
you know, maybe.
Yeah, I saw the Centenary one on sale on eBay, but I'm like, I'm not paying like $200.
I waited for the orange one for like 4 years, but the day came.
But no, it's annoying because it's the Macron sizes as well. Because everything is like for me, it was 2 sizes up, so I had to get a triple XL. But now I've lost a few pounds that I think I could probably fit into an XL at most.
I found them, buddy. Don't worry, I found them for
you. I think you'll see that. You'll see that though. I see bigger sizes. I see bigger sizes on sale.
It'll pop. Like what you
see is so often you see size small a lot because definitely from like people who are kids or whatever. So there's a lot of size smalls.
Yeah, I did actually make a purchase 4 days ago on bid. It was the shirt I had, Joe Mario on the back, which I got rid of.
Yeah.
The white one, which I really liked.
Oh, with the Sabake lyrics?
Yeah.
I like that shirt. That's a nice one.
I have Palinga on the back of that one.
I got it on bid for £7.
That's a steal.
Really? Plus five delivery. And it does say there's a little bit of damage to the sponsor. And it says like
that's going to happen regardless over time anyway.
All right.
Yeah, for £7.
That's a good one.
Even if you end up getting it for like £15, like plus the shipping, like, that's still good.
It was in the UK as well, luckily, so I didn't have to pay shipping. So
there you go.
It was all good.
Yeah, I saw the Centenary one on eBay last week. I think I might have messaged you guys, and I'm like, I was tempted, but I'm like, I'm not paying like $150, $160 Canadian for this shirt.
Weirdly, a lot of the ones like that are from like Ukraine as well, which is just like
they're from some random east like Bosnia.
I mean, you shouldn't buy anything from Ukraine.
Yeah.
Or you
I
should
think it was
message
from.
the seller
I think it was
and
from
make
like.
sure that everything is good.
I think it was like from Bosnia or something. It was one of those Eastern European countries, former
An eBay
USSR or Yugoslavia.
like a merch. They have. I don't know how they have all this shit. It's basically classic football shirts, but I think like a lower level than that because they just have like so much random shit, and
Yeah.
it's based in Ukraine because like they have sporting shit, but they have shit from so many other random clubs as well.
What's the site?
It's like a seller within eBay, so it's like an eBay.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's an
shop.
eBay store, drop shipping store, basically. Okay.
Yeah. And they're out of Ukraine, and they have a lot, like so much shit from random clubs, bro. Like,
yeah,
an insane selection.
There's
so
one
that's
I
why
use.
you see like 5 different sporting things from Ukraine. It's like, bro, they have 5 different sporting shirts. They have like shirts of everything.
There's one I use from Bosnia because I wanted a Canada shirt for the World Cup, and they had like they do like replica shirts. They're very blatantly not even like kind of authentic, but they look okay. So I paid like $50 for like a replica Canada shirt from like 1986. I'm like, cool.
How's it look?
That's fine. It fits great.
All right.
It wasn't bad. It's from like Bosnia or something. I had to like message. It was very shady, but like it came. It was a good price. So I'm like, I'll take it. But they had some, but like it's like screen printed on the shirt. So I'm like, yeah, this is very blatantly like not even kind of a replica, but like it still looks cool. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a few like retro sites where I'm like, this looks okay, and somewhere I'm like, this looks completely sus.
Yeah, I would never make a purchase over sort of like £50 from.
No,
from
it's
eBay.
for me. It's like 50 Canadian with the shipping is like my limit. It's like 50 to 60 is my limit for a site where it's like I'm not sure.
Ever since I got scammed on that Bastos shirt.
Yeah, because I can live with like $50, like losing
what was the
$50.
damage on
I can't
that
lose like $300.
So that was £40 plus I think 15 in shipping because it came from Spain. I think
you could honestly even argue that's like a fair market value. You know,
if I put it in a frame and just show the back, it looks real.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
to me, it's
real. Yeah. You got scammed.
Oh well.
But like €50 for a jersey that's used is like reasonable.
That's not bad.
So really, it was probably realistically its value is like 30, and you paid 50. So I mean, it could have been worse.
You paid $50 to like $20 above what it should have been. Like,
yeah,
be what it be. It is what it is.
Yeah. Oh well.
All right. What else we have? We have a lot. We got a new Portugal coach, don't we?
Yeah. Roberto Martinez.
He's one of the coaches of all time. He's a guy.
He was the only coach they made an official offer to.
That blows my mind. That really blows my mind.
Feels like the search was pretty quick and was concluded pretty quickly.
I thought it would stretch into like at least for like the end of this month because you don't have qualifiers until March, but
they don't have games till March and they're not even hard games. But
no, well, on paper they're not hard games. We like to make a meal of those hard games.
They're even like easier than average. I feel like.
Yeah, I'm not even mad they went foreign because people are like, we shouldn't have a Spanish guy. I'm like, I don't care who the coach is. If the coach is tactically sound, he's going to get the team.
Is the coach fresh off a different series of disappointments?
Well, like I think it was on ESPN FC I saw today or something. They were talking about the appointment. And they were all baffled by it. They're like, he was hired for Belgium to basically get them over the line, and he just couldn't get them over the line. And hypothetically, if you're Portugal, you want a coach that's going to be able to get you over the line or as close to the line as possible. I don't know that this is the guy for it. Like it was such a out of left field appointment. Like I personally, like I would have preferred Louis George because at least he's familiar with like most of the team. Yeah, it's shocking that seems like the only guy they made an official proposition to. Like you're telling me out of all the coaches available and in jobs that would probably be willing to leave their job to go to the national team, that's the only one you spoke to that you made an offer to. Like I feel like that's just.
I'd like to know who else they even talked to.
Well, we know they talked to Mourinho. They can deny all they want. We know they talked to Mourinho. For them, Gomes is full of shit, and he can deny it all he wants. We know he talked to Jose Mourinho, and Jose said no.
Also, Brazil approached Mourinho as well. and he said no to them too.
I remember saying to my dad, I said, I don't think he's ready to leave club management yet. Allegedly, I don't know how true the rumor is that they approached Zidane. I doubt they had even the foresight to approach Zidane. But yeah, apparently the only official offer they made was to Martinez, which is baffling to me. Like, that just seems like they didn't do their due diligence at all. I'm not mad it's a foreign coach, like I said, but I feel like with the plethora of decent to good Portuguese coaches you had, this is a choice. I don't know if it's a great choice. I'd like to be proven wrong, but I'm rooting for his success. But I feel like there was better, more logical choices than Martinez.
Yeah, on paper, it's a bad appointment, I think, considering what he did.
It's a lateral move at best.
Yeah, or what he didn't do with Belgium, I suppose.
Being generous.
Yeah, but I'm willing to give him a chance.
Yeah,
I like a lot of people thought Ruben Amorim would be a bad coach, like when we signed him. So
we thought Fernando Santos was gonna we were gonna be lucky to do anything. We won 2 trophies with him. Like, we did better than we had any business doing with him. Like, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give him a chance, but I wasn't thrilled about the decision, to be honest.
No, I haven't been let down by a coach since Carlos Queiroz. Realistically, that's the last coach I felt like really let down by for the national team. I felt like he wasted the last of a decent team, and then we were kind of in limbo for a while.
Yeah. I would. Who was the manager in 2014? Was that?
It was Paulo Bento. That was the Paulo Bento disaster World Cup where everything that went wrong, Ronaldo went into that World Cup hurt but insisted on playing,
and Pepe got sent off against Germany.
Pep got sent off against Germany because he was prime Pep and he was a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
We decided not to take an informed Quaresma, instead took fucking Adair. We used all 3 goalies because Patricio got hurt and then Beto got hurt. We had to. It was.
And then at the end of the day, all we had to do was beat Ghana 3-4-1, and we had so many chances. It's like
we lost. We won, and that game, I'm sure was fixed too. By the way, I'm pretty sure
1-2-1.
We won 2-1. You watch at least 1 or 2. You watch the goal we scored. It looks like the goalie was just had money on the game on one of them.
Ronaldo couldn't run, dude. He couldn't even run. He was out there still.
Oh, it was 10 against 11. It was all he very blatantly went into that work. It was public knowledge he was hurt. He had tendonitis or tendinosis or something. He was hobbling. He realistically should not have been playing. That probably fucked him long term. Yeah, that was a disaster World Cup, and we had hope because we had just lost to Spain the 2 years before in the Euros, in penalties, and we're maybe we can do something because we hung with them.
Yeah,
prime Spain.
Great kit in that World Cup too.
That was a fun World Cup for kits. Yeah, that's too bad. But yeah, cool. Baffling appointment. That's what I have to say. I hope he proves me wrong. I'll be the first one to come out here and say I was a big stupid idiot, but I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Yeah, fair enough. Is there anything else we've got to cover?
Other than we had a couple renewals, Sugar renewed, Rodrigo Ribeiro renewed.
Yeah.
The handball Costa Brothers renewed, which is good. Nuno Diaz, the futsal manager, renewed.
Yeah, that was good.
That was basically Neto trained.
Neto's alive.
Closer to return.
Good for him. That's good to see. I'm happy for him.
There seems to be no end date for Braganza as well.
It's only been 6 months, so I wasn't expecting him back for at least 9 at the earliest.
6 was being very generous with it. You were oh, he might be back by January. I'm we'll see. That's no,
I don't think no one comes for him back from an ACL in 6 months.
Unless you're
I think 9 is really the quickest that you can do.
Because we've got John Cena to lend some healing powers to him. That might have helped.
I remember there's an NFL player who came back and was fit within 9 months and was back playing again. And that's
NFL players
ridiculous.
are NFL players are mutants.
He should focus on being fit for the start of next season. If that's even a possibility.
I feel like this season you're to trot him out unless it's kind of towards the end, just to give him some minutes and just help
give him an Andre Paolo substitution.
Well, just to give him, just to help him kind of ease back into things 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. sure.
I
but
don't think he'll
it's
be
worth
fit
it.
until next season, personally, because
I'm
it
not gonna hold
happened
my breath.
late preseason, if I'm correct. It was literally in August that he tore it.
Yeah, it was in August.
But yeah, I guess if that's all we have on
Luis Felipe is getting sent back, basically, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I forgot.
Back in the B team.
We still had him.
Bro, it seems like he signed like the longest contract in the world.
Bro, he signed till the end of time.
Nah, dude, he signed the longest contract in the world, bro.
Oh yeah,
He's gonna be like that guy.
Here as well.
He's gonna be like that guy from the New York Mets who like they've been paying him for like 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years, we're still paying for Luis Felipe. We're still paying him wages.
Yeah, but before we call it a day, I'll give you guys just give me a quick prediction of the Benfica game. Obviously, the derby on Sunday at 6. Richard, start off with you. What are your predictions for the game?
Oh, do I have to?
Unfortunately, sir.
I don't want to say we lose.
I'll go first.
I think we're gonna lose, but my mind says we're gonna get probably absolutely dick slapped, but my heart says we're gonna shithouse a draw. I'll be generous. Yeah. I'll try to be optimistic.
I think we're losing by 4 or 5. I think we're going to be embarrassed.
I'm glad you said it.
I was already going to go 2-0.
I just think Benfica I think they've got more to prove, especially with like Champions League is going to come up, and they already dropped points at Braga, and like that was like a shock.
They're gonna be pissed. Like you never need motivation for a derby game. They've already got motivation because it's like we can further the lead up top and basically kill the league at this point. Yeah, they're going to Champions League. Like they're going to be pissed off and ready to go, which is the worst sign because we're playing away. That's going to be hostile territory as is.
Yeah, and like you could make the argument we've got something to prove, but every time that's been the case, we've choked under the pressure, especially this season. Maybe not this season, last season, the season before, but this season, like we had a chance to beat Porto and we lost 2-0. We had a chance to start the season well against Braga. We drew 3-3.
After having to lead 3 times as well that game.
Exactly. We had a chance to qualify for the next round of the Champions League. We choked. So.
That was brutal. We only got saved because fucking Marseille wanted to play for the win and got counterattacked.
Because their bench couldn't communicate to their
appropriately. Which baffles me because they were screaming, just play for the tie. And they're like, fuck it, we ball. And it cost them dearly.
Yeah, so Chris, you went with 2-0, right?
Yeah.
So
I'll go 1-1. Just someone's got to be semi-positive.
Yeah. So hopefully we come back and we've reverse psychologied it into a win. But
if we tie now, I'm gonna look so smart.
But the thing is, if we win,
it's such a waste to lose.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, that's it's gonna piss us off more because we're gonna be like, you would have been 6 points back. You would have had you would have had somewhat of a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a win. Don't get me wrong. Regardless, if we beat Benfica, I'll be very happy. But
I'm never not happy when we beat Benfica. I'm always in a good mood if we beat Benfica or Porto.
Yeah,
like it's never a bad thing to beat them. I don't care. Like,
yeah, facts.
It's like pizza. It's never a bad time. It's never a bad time to have pizza. Like that's how I look at it. Like,
very true indeed. But yeah, I guess we'll call it there. It's been one of our longer episodes. I guess pretty much 2 podcast episodes into one since we hadn't done one for I think 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, good to be back. Definitely going to be back after the Benfica game, win, lose or draw. So that'll be, I'm sure, a fun episode to cover. But before we head off, make sure you follow the guys on Twitter here. First, you got Chris, and you've got myself here. And then, last but not least, you've got Rich. And of course, make sure to follow Sporting160_EN on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If you don't have time to watch full podcast, TikTok clips uploaded to there. No longer than 2 or 3 minutes, so you can get all up to date on what's happened. But yeah, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.